I just made authentic birria for the first time ever, and I'll put all the details for the recipe I used in the description. So I started off by putting into a pot guajillo chilies, ancho chilies, arbol chilies, onion, Roma tomatoes, cinnamon stick, bay leaves, and black peppercorn into a pot and then covered with water. And I did rinse, stem, and de-seed all of my peppers before adding them in here, and then I brought this mixture to a boil, which I forgot to film, and once it reached a boil, I turned the heat down and covered to let cook for 10 minutes. And while that is cooking, I thought this was probably the best time to sear my meat, so I did it in 2 batches, and I did pre-salt and pepper all this meat on every single side. And along with seasoning on every side, you want to make sure you sear your meat on every single side too, because that's what really locks in the juices into your meat. Once my meat was done searing, it timed up perfectly to the point where my peppers were done. I added all that into a blender along with 1 cup of that pepper soaking liquid, also some garlic, cumin, Mexican oregano, ground cloves, 2 cups of beef broth, and also a 1/4 cup of distilled white vinegar. Next, I just blended this up until there wasn't any visible large chunks. I then put this through a fine strainer, and then once it was all through that, I poured it on top of my meat. And the recipe says to add a little bit of water to make sure that your meat is fully submerged, so that's what I did. I then added 2 extra bay leaves, and then I covered to let this cook for 3.5 hours. And honestly, this was really easy to make. It's just kind of time consuming, but the way this meat rips apart, it was definitely worth it. And I didn't want my meat to be finely shredded, so I did leave some big chunks in there just for texture and for a good meaty bite. So now for the best part, Bruce wanted a quesadilla, so I'm starting off with that. I took some of the fat I skimmed off the top of the pot and put it on the pan, and then I just spread my tortilla in it. And that's just my less messy way of getting that classic birria color. I then obviously added a lot of cheese, my birria, some cilantro and onion, and got it all toasted up, and I did serve it with some consomme on the side. For me personally, I was really feeling some tacos, so I did that entire process again, but for tacos this time. And honestly, the time and effort it took to make this was so worth it. The meat was incredibly juicy and tender, packed with seasoning, and I think the next thing I want to make is carnitas.